Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great too. So
Lovely.
I'll just make you the host.
Yes.
So please see if you can share
Thank
the
you.
presentation.
Thank you. I think yes, I'll be able to do. No problem. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
And just one off track, about this evaluation. I think I
Mhm.
should be update you by tomorrow.
Sure.
Tomorrow we'll finish it off.
All right, ma'am. Appreciate the support. It was really, last minute we are so thank you
No
so
problem.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Hello, good morning, ma'am.
Hey, good morning. Rahul, is it? Okay.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. I have two Rahuls here. Thank you.
The most common name.
Yeah. So I think people are yet to join. We will start by 12:05.
Morning, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Morning.
Good morning, Dr. Raghavi.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Hello, good morning to all.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. How are you all?
Fine, ma'am.
I'm fine, madam.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you so much for appearing.
Yes.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. I was actually waiting for people to join.
Okay.
And I was thinking, as per the instructions, the first 5 classes were allotted to me. And just wanted to tell you that I'm back for the next session also.
Thank you, ma'am. That's the greatest news, best news.
Yes, absolutely. We are very happy for this, doctor.
Oh my God, means a lot.
We are very happy.
Means a
Yes,
lot,
yes,
means
we
a
all,
lot.
we all.
And one more thing is that today, we're going to have 2 sessions consecutively. So from 12 o'clock till your 3:30 time slot, I will be there. So we're going to talk. We will have break. Probably that maybe at 1:30 to 2 itself. That break we can stick on to that break only. If you're okay, we will go that way. Or if you want intermittent short breaks so that we continue, that is also fine with me. So however you prefer.
Ma'am, lunch at
I think
1:30, ma'am.
yes. I think that would be ideal. Jugal is right because half hour we can take food and come back.
Then
Yes.
Yes, because we're going to take short breaks, the attention will be distracted. So continue 1.5 hours, then break, then again 1.5 hours.
Lovely, sure.
Half hour is okay for lunch break, ma'am, so that we can took our lunch, so immediately we can join.
Agreed. So we have, yes, 30 plus participants now. Okay, so last class we all had this small activity, right? If you all remember, yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
So again, considering the timing, considering that as my, the last class and all that, I wanted to, finish off whatever was assigned to me. Now that we have time and we have continuous sessions also today, so I thought of, bringing out, to start with today's session itself, we'll have one activity. With the same activity that we did last time, but with a different case. So I thought we will kickstart with that. Is that okay for all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
We'll do that.
Madam,
Yes.
can you just recollect what was the last activity we had?
So do you want me to recollect? You don't remember?
No, madam, actually, I think I missed that class.
Oh, you missed. Okay.
I
Then
think
agreed. Excuse given. We
Thank you.
were discussing about training need identification. And I had been giving some case wherein people were presenting their training need analysis report to us. So that happened, and that was very quick. A short thing. It was kind of a crash course kind of a thing that we did. But today I thought we will do it elaborately. Okay, it's 12:05 now. So with all that buffer timing, we will kick start. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. So glad to meet all of you once again in the next class. What we're talking about is all, the topics and the nuances pertaining to instructional design, your paper 2. So now in continuation with the last class, I am going to present one case here. And that case is about, devising the training need analysis report. And as usual, we will break this room into this time 4, because we have 40 people already. So 4 breakout rooms, 4 teams. Can we do that? Because last time you wanted me to have short, small teams.
Yes, madam, that would be nice.
Yes, ma'am. That would be good.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Lovely. So what I am going to do is first present the case for you. You may take a screenshot and then quickly I'll break you out. So able to see this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is your case basically. Would anyone read it aloud quickly? Any volunteer?
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
The company ABC. Just a minute, ma'am. Just switch on my camera. ABC is a small manufacturing company that produces custom-made furniture for residential and commercial clients. The company has been in business for 20 years and has a loyal customer base. However, in recent years, the company has faced several challenges. The demand for a custom-made furniture has declined due to the economic downturn and the rise of online retailers that offers cheaper and faster alternatives. The demand for the company has lost some of its key clients to competitors that offer more innovative and diverse products. The company has experienced high employee turnover, especially among its skilled workers, due to low wages, poor working conditions, and a lack of career development opportunities. The company has suffered from quality issues, delays, and customer complaints due to outdated equipments, inefficient processes, and inadequate training. The company's owner, Mr. Smith, realized that he needed to take action to save his business. He decided to conduct a TNA to identify the training needs of his employees and design training interventions to improve their performances.
Lovely. Thank you so much. So that was audio and a visual, thing for you, so that learners who wanted, audio, heard that, and for the visual, it is already there. So now I am going to break you to different rooms. Oh, we have 50 plus already now. That's okay. We will stick on to four rooms. 4 should be fine. Or else we'll not have time. So 4 rooms. Here you go.
So, what are we supposed to finally present? A training need analysis?
A TNI report.
Okay. Thank you.
Just like we did last time. I request all of you to join the breakout room that has been assigned to you. Quickly, all of you. Those who have not joined the breakout room, kindly join quickly. Ms. Ankita, Mr. Sudhakar. Please join your breakout rooms.
Dr. Raghavi, this is the best part now. In the online training, we have this magic wand. The moment you end the breakout room, everyone comes like magic back to the room.
See, I actually did not want to, do that, but then it's like 12:31 only. Again, I had to
No,
end
no,
it,
you're right.
considering the time. And Zoom gives us 1 minute, for all the participants, basically, to at least give a closure and come back to the main session.
Yes, right.
So all done, right? Not really.
Discussion was interesting, I would say.
So it's not over.
I think 1 minute conclusion. We were almost close to getting it over, but yes.
Yes, ma'am.
You wanted some more time?
Ma'am, probably just another 2
A
or 3
minute,
minutes would be
a
fine.
minute to just
Yeah.
summarize our.
Just to
See what I
summarize.
did, telling you all 12:30, I closed it by 12:31. I
Yes,
did that
yes.
actually.
I was thinking, ma'am,
Go for it.
this is not yet closed. I thought my time is running a bit fast.
And Zoom gave us 1 more minute, so 12:32 it was, because the Zoom gives us 60 more
Ma'am, the
seconds to
more you
come
give
in.
us, we'll never be happy with it. So it's okay, ma'am. Go for it.
Then I'm thinking, if I'll have to give you 5 more minutes, do you want it or we'll go?
I think
Yeah,
we
it's
can.
fine.
Ma'am, it's okay.
Okay, ma'am. You can
No
go.
problem. It's fine.
Go ahead.
It's okay, man.
So, yes. So we have everyone here. Super, lovely. So, how was the experience before I get on to the presentation and all that? How was this experience?
Nice, ma'am. We
That's
get to
good.
even talk to other friends of ours जो अक्सर हम क्लास में चुप रहते हैं तो वो सबका ओपिनियन आ रहा होता है मेन है वो जेलिंग अप हो जाती है इस दौरान
And the people who cannot talk can happily, chat also.
Yes, Mr. Lahiri.
Happened in our group, in our team.
Yes, please. You raised your hand, Mr. Lahiri. Right. So, any other experience?
Oh, okay. Sorry, ma'am, I was on mute.
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am, regarding the case study, probably there were a lot of issues that's not exactly related to the training issue, ma'am.
Should be.
Because wages, working conditions, attrition, all these, and outdated equipment.
Yeah.
All outdated equipment. Ma'am, please refer to this paragraph. The company has experienced high employee turnover, especially among skilled workers due to low wages, poor working conditions, and lack of career development opportunities.
Yes.
So, will this be a TNA, ma'am?
No, let's discuss this. Let's get into the topic. Let everyone present, and then we will give a closure to it. Yeah, we will definitely discuss. So, which team is going to present first?
Ma'am, team 1. Thank you.
Next, we will go, ma'am. Team 4.
Okay. So, team 1 followed by team 4. Then 2 and 3, you decide and let us know.
Team 3.
3. So, 1, 4, 3, 2.
Ravi,
Yes.
would you, Rahul, will you begin?
Okay.
Yeah.
I will start. Then you can maybe take on.
So you can start, Rahul. Maybe I think we can definitely start.
Yeah,
adding
we'll
those
pull in
points.
Rahul.
Okay. So the major thing I feel that in this case study that the company is facing lot issues due to his internal factors also, like a quality.
Louder, Mr. Rahul. A little
Yeah. The company is facing lot of problems due to his quality issues, delays, customer complaints, and outdated equipment and insufficient process. So the basic idea for is that we have to launch some development programs for them, which major focus on improvements, internal improvements. So we call it a Kaizen policy or something. So if you make some improvements, so in that development program, we can take a CFT. We can make a CFT of various departments, and in that we can give them a projects which is major focus on PQCDS, means productivity, quality, cost, deliveries, safety, morale and environment. So if they do some improvements in that, so and they save some in the monetary terms. So they save some cost and everything. So we can give them an incentive on the basis of that. So the TNA part will be like that. So they will go through 2 day training program. On the basis of that, in which the major things they're going to learn is that how to improve the productivity, how to improve the quality, how to improve the how to reduce the cost, how to improve the delivery and safety, and all these things. And after that, that group can be divided into CFTs, and projects will be allotted to them, and the timeline will be given to them for 6 months or 7 months. So they have to do the improvements in their workplace, and if they do the improvements, and if they give some tangible benefits or monetary benefits, the incentives, that incentive will be given to them on the basis of their savings, and it will not only improve the motivation, as well as it will give the benefit to the company. So that's the solution from my side.
So just to add, I think Dr. Raghavi over here, like, see, right now, the pointer, like whatever were given to us, we understood that I think somewhere the customer centricity was missing on. So after working for 20 years in the domain or in that particular field, we created the brand equity into the market. We were having a good client base. The problem which actually started coming up over here, because we have the skilled workers, but they are not getting retained somehow, because they are not happy with the working conditions or the kind of an equipments which we have. So while putting that customer into the core, or a customer experience into the core, what are we going to plan for? That we have decided that we require product and process skills. So what kind of a skills requirement are there? We have to identify that. We also need to understand that if we really need to be competitive with the market in this cutthroat era, then we really need to have the equipments of that sort of a quality through which we can start meeting the customer's requirement. There should not be any such delays. Apart from that, we definitely require some sort of a communications or the marketing training also. So the people like who are working for the marketing department, maybe a finance department. So for those kind of a people, we are going to have a separate training in curriculums or the plans, so that they can understand the requirements, come to the operations or the production team with the help of those new equipments, and we will be definitely imparting or like conducting certain sessions on those new equipments, so that we can meet the requirements of the customers. Nidhi, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, what we felt that why there was a why online retailers were taking over this company, which has already been performing for last 20 years. They had been a performer. That means they had certain system which was inbuilt. So they could be that the online products are quite affordable, or they are attacking the major clientele who want to go for it. Now, since that I already had a name to say, for instance, if I talk about durian, which is people would go for durian irrespective what they cost. So what durian is providing, that they're providing higher quality of material attached to it. The client is not coming again and again with a complaint, and if there is a complaint, there is somebody to handle it. So we find that internally and externally, we need to improve on both the parameters. Say, for instance, sales and marketing is there. So sales and marketing, how better they can how better they can be in line with what is in the market already. So if we are getting, and they are the first person to be the client or the customer, he is the person who would be, they're coming in direct contact with the client and customer. We are not getting into a company. So they need to have certain soft skills training also, so that they can easily handle the query there and there itself and provide a solution. Secondly, we divided our internal operations in HR, procurement, finance, where we can have proper selection of vendors, so training as per the quality parameters, providing us with better say hardware. Even say, for instance, we are having Havels for that instance, how to install an Havel, or from which vendor we are supposed to take such kind of products, so that we do not have any complaints from the client, because the product would be used better. We would not have repeat complaints. So if for that, we are training our internal employees on vendor selection, on product selection, and our parameters are set it very clearly that if this is the plywood that we are going for, say for Century, we would not take anything below that. So that saves our cost as well as our time. our labor is there. We are upgrading our labor with the new technologies like 3D Max, where they can present their designs in a format, in a colorful, as well as it is gonna be at the site. That kind of formulation would be there. So the client is completely convinced that this is what they're going to receive, because this one of the complaints that comes that jo dikhta hai wo milta nahi hai. So I think in this parameter, when the business will start growing, I think there will be better working conditions also. They would be better. They would improve on providing better for their customers, because now we have invested a lot of money on the training of our skilled laborers. Payments would be going regularly, because now we have a system where in 45 days or so, the payments go regularly to all the skilled and unskilled laborers. So in that case, we would be again getting back into the market.
One thing more I can add in that, I will take 10 seconds, ma'am. There are a lot of other problems coming due to the outdated equipment. So rather than buying a new equipment, there will be training or the intervention is required how to revive that old outdated equipment, where everyone can involved in that. There is a term called total productive maintenance. So everyone will help in how to revive that outdated equipment, in how to improve the upcoming, how to make a check sheets, how to improve the, how to resolve the abnormalities of the equipment, so that we can utilize that equipment or as well as improve the performance of the equipment. So major part can be resolved through this intervention also. Thank you.
I had two questions here. One, how did you arrive at, I mean, we've already given some concluding points, like what have you analyzed and what is the solution to, to the problem. So how have you arrived? Were there any methodologies that you have incorporated, implemented, for which you have, given the solution to this problem? Point number one, question number one. Question number two, I mean, as far as I understood, with this problem, I know this is a holistic problem that I've given. It may be, solved by a training program or may not be, but this is a generic problem. But then what I understood is, all the departments were focused when it comes to this TNI, your marketing department, finance, HR, all of these departments. Do you think it's viable, it's feasible? Do we do that way? TNI happens that way, or the client gives us that much buffer to us? So these are my two questions.
So Dr. Raghavi, I think, from the trainings per se, I think the first thing, what we analyzed is, we can probably invest on a skill enhancement workshops. So probably, training the employees on modern equipments or tools and software pertaining to custom furniture manufacturing. So that, which basically improves the standards. Okay, so this can actually, we thought, we can do this through like classroom or practical demonstration or the OJTs.
Hold on. My question is, how did you find out the methodologies of understanding the problem itself? I'm asking. How did you analyze that these could be the best fit in terms of this problem? So that way.
Yeah. So I think initially, like when we were discussing about all the problem statements, we tried doing the RCA finding. So the fact findings of the RCA that we were able to do it, like we were facing a couple of issues, like the quality issues. So the customer was expecting some amount of a quality out of us. We were not able to deliver it. Second thing was a delay in delivery, or maybe the timelines. So now when we were doing it, we realized that, okay, why we are unable to provide the quality, because we do not have the skill sets. Correct? We do not have a skilled employee because of the high attrition, or maybe they are not having the right equipments. So these were the pointers which we discussed at the initial phase itself to form the TNA. While we were actually wanted to focus only on the production employees, because normally the point which you just asked, that do we get that sort of a time? No, we don't get that. So I think if I really talk about my own experience being into the customer service industry for different domains, aviation, banking, NBFCs, or telecom, e-commerce, you get those kind of a problem, because I think whatever you have written over here, this is just only, I think I can replace the small manufacturing company through a BPM, I can replace it with the aviation company. The problem statements would remain same. You would be getting just only a month's time, or maybe let's say a 45 days of a time, not more than that, to completely for a paradigm shift kind of a thing. Now here you have to maybe bring new employees, you have to bring a new technologies or maybe certain equipments or the technology which you really need to change. That is something like which you have to focus upon. I can definitely second your thought that we will not be getting enough time to change the finance, to change the vendors, to change everything. No, we will not be getting that.
Yes, ma'am, because we are already 20 years we had performed, so we are not null on our process. This cannot be done overnight. So we can just prioritize that at the present to be at par, what is important, and we can go with that training. So we'll just prioritize it, and later on, yes, everything will fall in.
Fine.
We have planned it that way.
Yes.
Yeah,
So best way to
categorizing and then giving proper training actually would, I don't think so, would take too much of time, because you're not training days and days, or, we would give them a proper training just for, for the new employees who are coming, as Jugal said, for the new employees, I think we can give a big new amount of, good amount of training, so that, the process goes on smoothly, as it is 20 years old company.
One question to that, ma'am, if I may ask.
So, who is this? Payal.
Payal, yes.
So you belong to other room.
Yes, I'm just asking a question to them
So
for
you're
the.
questioning them. Okay. And Mr. Lahiri also has raised. So even you belong to another room,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
We both are in the same room.
Okay, same. Okay, so you have some questions to be shooted from the other rooms. Go on, please.
No, so the question is regarding the point which they have just
Ma'am,
made regarding. Yeah, please.
One by
you
one.
can go on.
No, ma'am. Payal, you go ahead. Payal, you go ahead after
Okay. Okay. So my question is, when we are talking about training the new folks. However, if you look at the case study, it is also mentioning about the customer service. So again, the current employees itself are providing the customer service, right? Any customer interaction or anything related to that. So how we are going to tackle that? Because we are focusing on new hires, right? But right now the market, I mean, the positioning of the company is not at the correct state. So hiring again right away will cost the company way too much, right? So on that point.
Okay, so answer to this particular question, Payal, see, there are two things which is happening in the company. One, the skilled employees are not being retained. Why? Because they are getting good opportunities outside the organization, and because of the low wages, they are not ready to work with us. So we have to do a double sort of, maybe I would say you need to parallelly work on two different things. One, we have to hire new employees. So the new hire training curriculum needs to be worked upon, and we have to revisit our complete process of hiring. So that from the induction itself, we can motivate our employees and showcase them the career progression in the organization. That let's say if they are joining us after 30 days of time, when they will be on the production floor, what they are supposed to deliver. If they would be able to deliver, then the pointer like which Nidhi and Rahul just mentioned, that how we can incentivize their efforts in terms of R&R kind of a thing. Similarly, for our existing employees, we really need to come up with a refresher plan. We need to come up with their equipments, or maybe I think if we are coming up with new equipments, so then a new rollout plan needs to be given to them. That new technology or a new AI which is coming in for their own benefits, we have to make them given a kind of a refresher program so that they can start delivering within the timelines while keeping the customer into the core, or maybe in the center of the business. I hope I have answered your both the queries.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Thank you.
Yeah.
So quickly, the next question, please.
Yes, ma'am. Coming to your question, how did we gather the data? There are 5 steps, ma'am. The data was gathered through observations, surveys, interviews.
You don't. Hold on. Sorry. You don't belong to this room. Maybe we will. I will come back to your room. Maybe you can answer.
Okay, ma'am.
Thanks for that enthusiasm, basically. Right. So you belong to which room?
Group 7, probably, ma'am.
Room
We are
7.
having just only group
There will be
4,
four
huh?
groups.
4 groups are there. with you,
Fourth group, ma'am. Fourth group. Probably the fourth group.
So the next turn is yours for your room.
Yes, for group 4, ma'am. Room number 4, yes.
Yeah. So room number 1, any other points? Can we close or you have anything
we
else
can.
to talk about this? That's it?
Yeah, ma'am, we are done.
Yes, good job. Very good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now over to room number 2. Room number 2.
Four.
Sorry, room number 4. Thanks for that. Room number 4.
I think it was Leo. You wanted to speak.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah.
Am I
Hi,
audible?
Leo. Before that,
Yes.
I was also understanding when I entered into your room, was there any doubt in the question that, I mean, the case and all that? Because it sounded like that for me by some other person.
No, ma'am. Not really a doubt in the case. See, as with any case, can I continue?
So,
Yes, please.
Mr. Yogesh,
Dr. Raghavi, I raised that
Mr.
question because I
Yogesh.
joined little late.
Yes, okay. All right. Proceed.
Yeah. First and foremost, please permit me to keep my camera off because I'm on the move right now and I have a very low bandwidth on where I'm operating. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you so much. And along with me, all the rest of our teammates also, we had a interesting discussion on this entire topic. See, there are 2-3 issues which we came up with as far as we are looking at this. Number one, before we proceed on, and when I speak here, I speak on behalf of the entire group that is having this discussion. Perhaps I may use some terms which are not entirely with the entire team, but it's a result of whatever we discussed internally with the entire group. So what we had discussed over there was, number one, there are issues which are internal and there are issues which are external.
Right.
Within this case. So first we would, before even jumping into the TNA, we need to look at the classification of the internal and the external issues. If we are to take a learning from what we have learned in our previous classes, then I suggested that we could look at also having a background with Porter's forces to understand what are the external factors that need to be analyzed. But that's kept aside. First, let's look at the internal factors. Internal factors would be if we are saying that staffing is not the issue because we've been in business for some time. So we are assuming here that staffing has got certain cut and right procedures and processes. The issues that come up, key issues, I'm just summarizing them so we can keep on splitting hairs on many levels. But the key issues that come up are number one, production, number two, marketing, number three, sales internally. So first and foremost, first and foremost on the productional related issues, for all of these, whether internal or whether external, we used a term, we would have to look at it from something known as a CVS study, a concern validation study, because there are concerns which go beyond what training can solve. Training cannot solve all problems. So there are OD issues, there are organizational development issues, and there are TNA issues. So we separate them into the internal and external factors. We look at we validate the concerns from production perspective. So our previous teams have already stated some of those points with regard to outdated equipment, not keeping in touch with the current environment, not getting into e-commerce, etc., etc., etc. That would come under the marketing perspective. Production would come under outdated equipment. Maybe some of the processes itself need to be sorted out and seen. So from that perspective, if you have outdated processes, procedures, and product, then again, we would look at also what is the extent to which our competition or our suppliers are, arm twisting us in different ways. Both I'm taking on the same plane because number one, competition is coming up with newer products at a faster pace. I don't know whether our suppliers, internal or external, are also supplying to the competition or not. Okay, if they are bound suppliers, then well, we can do something with them. If not, they may have a much higher arm twisting power with us or a bargaining power with us, which might actually be bringing us down. So in terms of profitability, it's very easy to pin things on sales and say sales is not being able to do this, but at what cost are we being able to produce these things or not? That would also have to be seen. That's why I use the term CVS, concern validation study. So once we have done all these things, and we have sorted out the issues which need to be taken into consideration from the OD perspective. Then we sort out the processes. So first we set our home in order by getting the product in line. Okay, then we set our home in order by getting our processes in line. Now again, the study tells us, case study tells us that we have been in business for the last 20 years. So an assumptive background over here would be that in 20 years we would have done a lot of work as far as our processes and procedures are concerned. But have they kept pace with the changing scenario? Sometimes processes and procedures continue to remain outdated, and unless there's a shakeup, they don't get revised. So the processes and procedures which are related to everything, sales, service, staffing, marketing, all the perspectives would need to be looked at. So that would come to the second perspective on the OD background. The third background would come to, now let's look at against whatever we are talking about, do we have the correct competencies in place to handle these things? So here I would suggest looking at, if we look at, ma'am, you had asked about what procedure we had used. While we didn't discuss it internally as the procedure, I would suggest the first part of the ADDIE model, okay, wherein we are looking at problem identification,
Okay.
identifying the goals, identifying who is the target audience, identifying who are the stakeholders in this whole thing. Then we are mapping the various resources available on that. So
Right.
from that, sorry.
Right. Yes, please go on.
Yeah. So from that perspective, then if I may suggest, we would look at the operational needs. We would look at the task and complexity factors which are there. Then come to the skills required and the competencies required. Once we have these three things in place properly, and we have understood that there are certain issues which now need to be sorted out, then we map the competencies against those. Having mapped the competencies against those, now we start looking at where are the areas that we need to perform. So before this, the training, as per me, I might be wrong. We discussed this within the team also. Please correct us if we are wrong. As per us, what we found out was that once we reach this stage, then we can start looking at the TNA from the perspective of doing the regular 6 tools of TNA, which is the observation, assessments, interviews, customer background focus. So coming to the external part now, we would look at our customers, our suppliers, and our ability to perform within these environments. So we would need to take assessments from these people also. So basically some sort of a CS, customer satisfaction survey or something like that, to the extent to the changes which we need to make. Because very often it's not the internal factors that drive the development, it's the external factors that push us to develop in those directions. So are our processes and procedures geared up to meet those external factors? That's number one. Number two, are the competencies and skills in place to handle the new requirements from the processes and procedures which the external factors have driven us to? Number three, do we have the necessary framework to put in place the requirements to map against those competencies and skills? And number four, after all of that, do we have now the capability to develop the content, whether in-house or externally, to go forward with the training?
Right.
These are some of the points that we discussed, ma'am. Please, my teammates from Group 4, please add in if I have missed out anything.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, I'm from the Group 4, and Mr. Kolekar, you have summarized in my viewpoint in very nicely, and we also believe that this second and fourth point is the byproduct of first and second issues. Because if you have a challenges, why these challenges are, because this you are having the workers who are not skilled, and you are giving low wages because your organization is already 20 years old. So that time you had a good time, what we assume, and now you are suffering because of you are not adapting the environment, you are not adapting the innovations. So that is the result we can see. Yes, anybody else? Sneha madam?
No, I think Leo has done it beautifully, and I at least agree with him completely. So I really do not have anything else to add on to it.
Yes, Mr. Lahiri, you can now list out there.
No, ma'am. No, I think Leo has said
Yes.
what I was trying to.
Other than the four methods that he had mentioned, if there's any other methodology, you can definitely mention.
No, ma'am. No, not at the moment.
All right.
Can I just add one more thing, ma'am?
Yeah, please, Leo.
though we did not discuss it within our team, since you have requested for methodologies,
Oh.
normally, as I said, we only discussed the outcomes. We didn't discuss the theories on it. So along with Addy, I would probably, here I say I because we didn't discuss it. I would probably look at, I don't know whether it's a common method or not, but we have been using a terminology called DADDY, which is DADE. Okay, define, assess, develop, and evaluate. So I'm not very sure whether it's a proper theory or whether it's a known thing or not, but we have found it to give us some success. We define the problem, all right? What is the outline of the whole problem and where do we want to go with it? We then develop the assessment method which we're going to use, which over here is one of those 6 typical TNA methodologies which we put in place. Then develop the respective methodology itself. That means even before the training, we might require to develop, which kind of, are you going to do with caselets? Are you going to go with interviews? Are you going to go with questionnaires? Then we have to develop that itself for the AC. And then finally evaluate whether that AC is functioning for these particular competencies or not. That's sorry, we didn't discuss it within our team, but I thought I could point it out here.
And these are company specific, department specific, team specific acronyms that we all do basically. So I remember one person telling me DD, so that's how I related DED. So defining, evaluating, it goes on. As I said, it's company specific or role specific ways that you introduce in terms of bringing innovation in terms of this training need identification stuffs. So I think well and good, fair enough.
Thanks, ma'am.
So any questions for team 4, room 4? Come on, room 1, 2, 3, we'll have to, trigger some questions, some food for thought from whatever they've, presented to us. Room 1, 2, 3.
We can say they have done very good job, ma'am.
Okay, that's a feedback to you guys. Room number 4. So, well done. Great job. Now I'm moving on to room number 3.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Go on.
I'll start for room 3. Basically, what we discussed based on this case was that training need analysis needs to be done at all 3 levels: the organizational level, the operational level, and the individual level, right? So our first step would be, we would start with surveys and some focus group interviews, especially with senior management in the beginning, wherein we can discuss, we can have a strategy session of sorts, wherein all the senior heads or decision makers of the organization will sit and understand where the organization is going wrong. Based on that and the data that we've collected through our surveys, we can then categorize the problems into 2 areas. First would be things that can be covered through training. And secondly would be the issues that need some sort of an organizational intervention. Once we've categorized that, it becomes easier going forward. For the issues that need organizational intervention or OD issues, basically, again, some sort of a session wherein the management sits through and they have a vision board of sorts about how do they want to go about with changing new equipments or some sort of trainings with respect to new processes, and all those kind of things can be sorted through those sessions. The other issues that needs specific trainings at an operational level and an individual level that we can later on handle by categorizing the different employees as in different teams that are involved in this problem case. So we are looking at 4 basic categorizations. First would be our sales and marketing teams. Second is our technical teams that are dealing with the actual manufacturing of furniture and those kind of things. There will be a quality assurance team. Third target group would be that. Then also the support functions. The 4th group would be our support functions, which include some sort of trainings that need to be done to the finance department or to the HR department or the other departments that support the basic operations. This is what we discussed. And then we discussed upon what sort of trainings would be given to or could be given to different groups that I just mentioned. Say for sales and marketing, we could do a CRM sort of a training. For technical groups, we need some sort of training in the new equipments or the new technology that is available in this particular field. We could do some sort of process trainings, which they're missing out on. Some additional reading materials like SOPs need to be revised and given to the employees so that a standard process is laid down for all the employees. For the quality assurance teams, there needs to be a quality training on the processes that need to be followed. Apart from that, the support functions, like say, there is a point that mentions that there is a poor working condition in the organization. Those sort of issues can be, those sort of trainings can be given to the departments so that the hygiene factors in the organization can be improved further, because they lead to overall, they affect the overall productivity of the organization. Apart from this, what we discussed was, and some sessions can be for the entire organization, like a town hall meeting of sorts that they have, wherein the motivation sessions or the journey of the organization so far can be played in front of the employees, so that their morale stays intact, because the organization is facing a lot of issues on that front as well. Guys, if I've missed out on anything, please add. Group 3.
Yeah, one more thing is as they are like 20 years old experienced organization, so they must be having a good customer base. So that thing also, customer base revamp and follow up, that also they can do, which will enhance their overall performance. And also the other one is, as the competition is with the online market, the pricing is there, price structure and quality is a challenge. So they can work on the pricing matter, and they can pitch into the e-commerce development, and also they can do the quality enhancement of the products, which will help them.
Because you mentioned pricing, my question to you is,
Yes,
how do you think these pricing stuffs and all that, as an instructional designer, we would be able to do? Is there any particular strategy that we can follow, or any other techniques that can be followed? Any insights to that?
In this scenario, the technical team has to pitch into the planning and planning process. Yes, in this situation, as a training team, we cannot get involved into this, but the technical team can come forward and they can plan for that.
Dr. Raghavi, if I may add, sorry. So when we said that we'll have a vision board sort of session with the entire, with all the department heads, those kind of issues can be tackled there. So if we, as a representative from the training need analysis team, sit through in those sessions, we will get more clarity on what sort of pricing structures should they be looking at. We can have more insight into a thorough competitive analysis as to what their competitors are doing, what sort of pricing is being followed, what sort of marketing strategies are being followed through online furniture selling companies and all those things. That is why the first step should be that vision board strategy meeting, which will kind of make the way easier.
Right. So if you're done, we'll have some questions for this team from the other rooms.
Sure, ma'am.
Team number, I think this is a team number 3 which presented. Huh?
Yes.
Just like to understand the steps which you listed out, like starting with the sales and marketing, then the technical, QA and support. Can you just list them in order of your priority? Which one would you start first?
Sure. As of now, it would be an assumption on our part to prioritize as such, since we said that we would have a strategy session with the department heads. It is generally a good idea to get their insights into it in certain kind of cases. But if I have to assume, I would start with the technical teams first, the core team that is designing furniture and manufacture for product design, basically. But that will be totally an assumption.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Mr. Leo has a question.
Sorry, not entirely a question. Just wanted to comment on the vision board idea, and I thought
Yeah.
in continuation to what you just said with regard to what is this called, prioritization of activities. I think your first meeting itself will decide the priorities, because the pain points shall get pointed out over there. So if you're doing a sort of a vision board exercise and you're deciding that you're going to move the entire, because as I said earlier on, we are discussing two separate points over here. While we are discussing TNA, we are also discussing a turnaround case. So adequacy will need to be checked, whether it is there or not, at all levels, from people, from process, and from product. So I think the vision board exercise will itself give the thing. Thank you so much for that point. I think it's a very
Well done.
valuable discussion.
Well done. Well done. Mr.
Thank
Leo.
you.
Yes, Sneha.
Yes, ma'am. I have a request here, not a question. Can someone explain a little bit about a vision board, because I'm not very aware of this?
Anika, would you do that?
Yes. So these sort of exercises are done in different organizations where they're looking for a complete overhaul of the setup that they have currently, wherein mostly senior management sits, they have sort of vision quest ideas. They go through that entire design thinking phase wherein where do they see the organization going forward into, like, in 5 years, 10 years, whatever their plan is. Then they once they establish where they are meant to be in a particular time frame, then they look backwards and think what are the milestones that they need to establish, and what all departments need to contribute in the individual capacity to contribute to the entire vision of the organization going forward. So those sort of exercises happen. There are different ways of doing it. But this is the general idea, basically aligning all the different departments in the organization to the overall vision of the organization.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much, Anita.
Nice.
Like how we do this objective setting, Sneha, like from organization, to different departments to individuals. So it comes that way. That is the basic idea of the vision.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, thank you.
All right, lovely. Room number 3. Good job. Different perspective. But I think each room has given us different perspectives. So finally, over to you, room number 2. Room 2. Room 2.
Sneha, are you going to initiate?
Oh, Sneha belongs to room 2. Okay.
Okay, so there's one more Sneha, that is myself,
Okay.
Sneha Masurkar.
All right. All right.
Okay, so we have decided to identify the objective of having the TNA first. So the objective will definitely influence the internal and the external market, like for example, internal, what are the challenges what we are facing, and the external market where the competitors are making better products, the competitors are using high technology, whereas internally we are a little lagged behind, being a 20-year-old firm. So the internal challenges are first to be considered, and then we are going to consider the external one. For that, understanding what are the issues with each and every department, why they are not able to perform, and then we will go on to the personal training identification, person wise. So for doing that, the next step is to collect the data. How do we want to do that? We want to first have a meeting with the leadership team to understand what is at the stake, why the company is not able to perform to its best, and what are the factors because of which people are leaving the organization, and why we are not able to retain the people, why we are not able to provide them with the best training, etc. So the personal interaction with the stakeholder, and then which will be followed by a questionnaire to the rest of the employees of the organization to understand their point of view. That is the second point where we want to collect the data. The third part or the third step of TNA is to analyze that data. We will use the SWOT analysis where we will understand the internal and the external market threats, what are the weaknesses within the organization and what are the strength. So obviously being a 20-year-old organization, there will be a lot of strength, there will be a lot of positives in the organization, because of which it was able to survive till 20 years, which is not not a very small duration. And then we will try to target those trends and make our TNA wherein we want to highlight the positives and then mitigate the negatives. We will use AD model as a fourth step to design a solution on this. Anil Mitra, you want to highlight how do you want to use the AD model?
I think
You go ahead.
mentioned
You
AD
go ahead.
model, so that should be fine for us.
Okay, so we use AD model to analyze how do we want to do this and what will be the outcome and how do we want to develop the curriculum based on that, and followed by the evaluation. Fifth step is the evaluation where we use Kirkpatrick model, and then the evaluation, the report will go to the stakeholders where we will discuss with them the training need analysis at the junior level, at the mid level, and even at the leadership level. So they're looking at the scenario. I think the leadership is somewhere lacking in making strategic decisions based on the market conditions external, and obviously they must be aware about the internal operational issues where the marketing team or the sales team is not able to perform up to the mark. And going by that, we would also suggest in our TNA plan to have a executive coaching for the leadership team also, where say a marketing head or a sales head and a production head, customer service head, so that they also understand how they want to maneuver their team to the positive direction or to the upward direction. This is all I would want to say. Anyone would want to add anything from team 2? Parul?
My question is how Kirkpatrick model is going to play a role in this TNI.
So it's basically to evaluate, the efforts which has gone into training each department. I'm sorry, I missed out this point. We want to start with training with the marketing and sales department, because that is where, the revenue is there, revenue generation is there, followed by production and operations. I'm sorry if I'm not able to answer your question effectively.
But for that, a pre-training would do, right? Pre-training assessment would do, right?
Yeah, perhaps.
A pre-training year we are planned for the year total productivity management. In that we are consider the early management of new equipment step. Here we are approaching the equipments. We have to approach the equipments that we are going to give the training, prerequisite training for the how to operate the machines and what are the standard operating procedures we will provide for the operators and the management level.
Okay, guys. The other rooms. Would you like to question this team? Any clarifications from what they've presented? Yes, Mr. Leo.
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, actually, even I had the same question as to why would we want to look at Kirkpatrick at this stage. So I think she's already mentioned that. So the perspective that I have, ma'am, this is perhaps it's a question to you, ma'am, not to the team. Can we even is there an evaluation technique for, or is there a selection technique for which is the most effective TNA methodology for a given kind of problem? Is there any classification like this, ma'am?
Instead of
Question to you, ma'am.
classification, maybe we can list out, say, as I said, focus groups or pre-trainings or whatever. But depends on what case and what intensity of the case is. So who is our target audience? Who is our people basically? So based on that, we'll have to only customize. There's no ready-made format for okay, this is the best one that you can incorporate. No, I wouldn't prefer that also. But instead of that, we understand the skills, like where are we lacking, whether the knowledge or the skills or the behavior, attitude, or at the organization level, as you guys mentioned, OD level, at the OD level. So based on that, we'll have to pick either of these methodologies, one or many of the methodologies that we can do, so that you get the best output. That is the way we'll have to do a TNI process.
Thanks, ma'am. I
But
get what you're coming.
I was also awaiting some kind of, maybe I can also trigger that question to you. See, this happened, I don't know, Leo, if you were the part of the previous class. There was a question, wherein what would be the difference between training need identification or training need assessment and training need evaluation, basically. So I am trying to, pull that here at this juncture with this case discussion. Maybe you guys can share the insights here as to will that play a role, as to what we are discussing here, as to what, the question that you had asked, Mr. Leo. So can we throw some insights? Can we trigger some discussion points here? I will also add value in the last.
Ma'am, regarding, hi, my name is Sakirti. So
Yeah,
regarding the assessment and evaluation.
No, I'm not able to hear you. Your voice is so feeble.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am. So the question of assessment and evaluation.
Yes. We had this question from someone last class, like, training need assessment and training need evaluation. How is this going to differ and all that? So I'm just pulling that discussion here with
yes, ma'am.
With this particular case discussion also.
Okay, so I think assessment is something where we are finding out like where are the improvement areas, and we are trying to assess those things upon. And evaluation is something like we have already assessed, we have already applied the training, and now we need to evaluate the outcomes of the training, like how is it happening and what more improvements can we make to the training that we have given.
Okay, with respect to this discussion, Mr. Leo, would you like to add any point to this?
Ma'am, actually, when I look at it, I'm to be really honest, I was not clear on the difference between the two until the discussion just now.
No, we just had a discussion last time. So I'm just feeling in this. Both the same, and in a way it has some differentiation also. Why I brought in that question here is because of that same point. What methodology to use? Is it really okay to bring in Kirkpatrick model? Kirkpatrick is a huge thing. Many of us don't follow the training process.
True, Kirkpatrick, ma'am, again, only an opinion, and with all due respect to the team who would have discussed it, I'm sure they would have had a perspective on discussing it. So, in all due respects, I think Kirkpatrick at this stage would probably be counterproductive.
Yes, exactly. So that is why I raised that question. So, at this TNI point, what kind of methodologies do we use? So, are we analyzing? Are we evaluating? What are we really doing with respect to this training need identification process? And how are we arriving at methodology? So, as you asked, is there any best serve for this kind of a problem? For that, I am trying to bring in that question and understand some insights in this perspective: training need analysis, training need evaluation. What could be that? Can we have some more points on that? So that's my question.
Can I please raise another point? Oh, sorry, I know I'm taking up a lot of time.
No
Ma'am,
problem.
this perspective actually, why I asked this is because we often run into, see, a lot of us just now in the last four group discussions, all of us said we will meet with the senior management, we'll bring the senior management team
Yeah.
in. So I'm part of my leadership team over here within my organization, and despite the fact that I am dealing with equals, I'm not dealing with people above me necessarily. I'm dealing with equals in many cases. Still, there are a lot of cases where I have a perspective coming from certain department heads, which it says it's either my way or the highway. Now you can see very clearly that there is a huge pain point in this particular area, but he is insisting that let us do this, and he wants a restaurant menu for his training. You come and give my people program on this.
Correct.
And our training team at that point of time is looking to us, looking to me for guidance as to how do we proceed forward, because it's going to be counterproductive if we do what he is asking. So that's the reason why I asked that question to you, ma'am. Is there any definitive way in which we can, at least put it down forward? Because sometimes when we interact with these kind of, I would not like to use the term, but still use the term toxic forces, they derail the process of training need evaluation itself.
Happens.
And then what happens is you will end up going down the road as per what that respective department head has, because the person who bangs his head under the table loudest during the meeting is the one who's supposedly right, which is not right actually.
Fine.
So any suggestions, ma'am, from your side, or any of the team members, please?
Jugal is
Any
ready.
suggestions?
Mr. Jugal is already ready.
In fact, I think the pointer like which you just mentioned or called out, Leo, I think
Your
there are
voice is a
people.
little feeble.
Is it better now?
Yeah, proceed.
So I think just to add over here, Leo, I think I'm also a part of not exactly the senior leadership, I would say, but yeah, MLM sort of a thing in my organization. And the problem statement, like whenever we talk about training, so it happens like when you are dealing with the operations or let's say design vertical, like who are actually imposing a lot of process designs to you. And when it comes to operation needs that overnight change in everything. So I think the introduction of Kirkpatrick model, which we were just discussing, Dr. Ravi, I think it becomes sometimes really, really essential to understand that how your new hire training is actually performing, or are you able to derive some sort of a goodness from that particular program or not?
Yes.
Otherwise, your learning curve becomes really, really like large. And then the L0 metrics achievement becomes really, really difficult for your business. So ultimately, you are going to rework on certain things. You really need to reconduct the assessments. You really need to like again look at your input levers, maybe from the quality, maybe from the sometimes it is the ACPD kind of analysis, like where you are trying to understand what are the agent opportunities, where are the customers are coming from, where are the process things are not working, or maybe there are broken processes. And basis those input levers, again, you are actually trying to design the complete TNA for yourself, or maybe for your existing as well as for the new crowd.
Right.
And then you really need to go back to your content also. So it is not possible to like revamp the content maybe overnight or maybe within the 10 days or a 12 days kind of a thing. Because when it comes to the overall content, like I think, if I'm not wrong, Anika or was talking about vision board or a complete overhaul kind of a
Yes.
process.
Yes.
So overhauling on particular process, like revisiting something and then again trying to find out like which are the broken legs, how we can maybe plug in those gaps and then again bring those particular things for the end users. Because most of the times we people are sitting in the discussion room. Maybe I think performing a lot of very, very constructive discussions, forming really, really like good design or the process designs.
Very
But
true.
when it comes to that end user who is actually interacting with the customer or maybe dealing with the customer, for example, in this case study, he will be that, but the person who is actually visiting the customer place, working there, how he is actually communicating or maybe how he is actually dealing with those equipments without disturbing the ecosystem of that particular customer's place. Maybe it's a commercial or maybe it's a domicile or maybe a home kind of a place, like where the children will be around, there will be females around, and then that worker has to play his role and then complete everything within the given time frame.
True, very true.
And similarly, if I talk about customer service industry also, like I don't know how many of you have interacted with any of the BPM worker or maybe an employee. Like the person who is sitting there understanding that, okay, what kind of a data is there? How am I supposed to deliver that sort of a customer experience? Because I think more of us generally talk about customer centricity, customer experience, customer uh, satisfaction, all these terms. But we really need to understand from that particular poor person's and that, okay, how are we actually designing the complete training program so that he can get the maximum benefits out of it, sharpen his skill sets, and then maybe with the required competencies, he will be in a position to deliver it. Then only we are going to get that customer CSAT scores or ASAT scores or maybe a SS satisfaction scores. So whatever it could be.
Right. Lovely. So, I mean, as far as this training need analysis, this is a huge topic. Different case will have different perspectives to it. See, this this training need analysis per se, if you ask me, it's a bird eye view of your company and its overall goals. Before you drill down into various types of concrete training that you actually need. If your company needs more of robust training or on-demand mobile training because of your employee profile, because of the risk profile that you have based on the evaluation you bring in. So this training need analysis is a crucial step as to how you develop more effective training materials, or bringing the best use of your production time, all of this. So I also brought in this training needs assessment because of that evaluation. When we discussed evaluation, see, it has its own similarities and dissimilarities. When a training need analysis, as what you all talk, takes a broader organizational perspective. That's what I could see in all the insights presented by all the four rooms. It gives me a broader perspective, an organizational perspective, and assess the overall training requirements, which is the training need analysis. Whereas the training needs assessment, basically zoom into the individual needs within the organization. That is the basic difference. And I think all of you covered that. Both of these processes are important, for an effective training planning, training implementation. So when do I conduct this training analysis? How do I conduct? When you combine these approaches, any organization can ensure a comprehensive, a target training strategy, which will actually optimize employee development, support the organization's success. So before you start training, imagine you want to go to the Sahara Desert, say for example, okay, for the first time. But you have no idea where it is. And you're not certain where to find the computer that you want to use to find out where it is and all that. You can't find a map to locate your nearest atlas book or library or whatever. You have no phone to call for helping out. You have none of the tools nor the resources that you need to even begin planning your trip. Your TNA is going to figure out exactly where you're starting, what your company needs to achieve in terms of its goals. So your basic knowledge, skills, abilities, when you understand these type of training analysis, in terms of developing your targeted training programs, which will bridge gaps, enhance the performance, propel the workforce towards success from the case what we have discussed. Yeah. If your company is hiring newly graduated employees, so how do we, go about it? In case industries with specific regulations, specific complaints related issues, or intricate procedures that a company has, assessing employees' knowledge base, a healthcare organization wherein, new nurses who will treat the patients, all of these privacy laws, protocols. So how you go about it? So whether it is knowledge-based or skill-based, say a software company will conduct a skill-based analysis to evaluate the employee's proficiency in programming languages, whatever, project management, collaboration with the cross-functional teams, however. If it is an ability-based analysis, if the employees have the ability to problem solve, manage the risk. So typically in the sales-driven organization wherein, we evaluate the ability of the sales team to identify the customer's needs, negotiate the deals, close the sales. The analysis here helps identify the areas for improvement and tailor some training programs for us. So how can we do methods? Like it can be questionnaires, it can be interviews, it can be observation, examining the work patterns, assessments, focus groups, job task analysis. All of these could be, in fact, performance appraisal, the reviews from the performance appraisal, customer feedback. I was expecting all of these, important factors that we do as part of TNI, pre-training assessments, performance metrics, of course, competitive analysis you all mentioned. So all of these could be different ways wherein we bring in this TNI into picture. And to answer Leo's question, these are the ways, these are the methods that we bring in by incorporating these methods into the TNI toolkit as to what we are bringing in. We can gather some comprehensive understanding of what the organization's training requirements are, and design the targeted training program which can align with the needs of the organization. So I think all of these are important. Then you conduct the training analysis, you develop a company profile, as you all spoke, develop a company profile, ask yourself some big questions. What are the corporate's goals? What are the training goals? What is the current ROI? Do we have a right team basically to bring in all this? Ensure compliance, very importantly. Some mandatory training schedules, industry specific regulations that we can bring in, the code of conduct, department specific training needs. When we prioritize compliance through all of these comprehensive training need analysis, it becomes it gives us an overall success. At the same time, it gives us sustainability to the business. When you have such a high regulated environment around, beginning, charting the road ahead, it is very, very important. Though it is a 20 years organization, it is important. Say, let's consider a manufacturing company which is trying to enhance its operational efficiency. Yeah, through interviews, through questionnaires, we generally gather input from employees across different departments, right? So how are we bringing that roadmap for us? Analyzing the current training materials, training methods, so that you bring in some key aspects into this entire TNI process, making it effective, making it relevant, making it in alignment with the problem statement, bringing a user experience to the entire training need analysis, bringing in technology. So all of these are important. Then you develop the recommendations. After you evaluate all of this, then you bring your own statements to it, bring your own delivery methods, whether you're going to do some onboarding, offboarding practices, learning gaps or deficiencies, bringing in new technology, updated, whatever I said as regulatory requirements, compliances, or improvising the employee engagement programs, reducing some training costs, reducing the resource costs. So tracking some, assessments, results, all of these would be, an add-on for you to bring about a very robust training need identification report. So these could be some recommendations to an individualized way of understanding the company's needs. So again, as always, I say one size doesn't fit all kind of solutions. Maybe the information your training programs will provide is really huge and great, but always needs an updated delivery method, or maybe you need a total overhaul to all your strategies. So you develop a list of recommendations, you identify the highest priorities and work from there. So that is the key. These are the key points that I wanted to tell as part of your training need identification. So yes, can we park here? It's a great discussion from each of you whoever contributed to this activity. So can we park here? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thanks, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts here?
Ma'am, I have one doubt.
Yes, Sukriti. So before I go on to Sukriti's doubt, maybe we will come back by 2:15 because the next class is also mine. Come back by 2:15.
Yes.
And we'll proceed with the next session. Yeah?
Yes.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. So the Zoom will be there. I mean, it is going to be on. So you can exit or you can off your audio video and come back. Yes, Sukriti.
Ma'am, I have one doubt. In my organization right now, I'm doing training need analysis, and they don't have any proper training things happening currently in the organization.
Okay.
So, analyzing the things is a very broad aspect there. So, which all things should I first take into consideration while I'm preparing the questionnaire for the senior management, for the middle management,
Yeah.
and for the employees which are directly related to whom I have to train. So basically, I want to understand the points on a smaller aspect that should be in my questionnaire while I'm doing the analysis.
Okay. Right. Well, I mean, this is the way you have to start. Basically, as to what I would say is categorize as to what one set of participants mentioned: the individual needs, the department needs, and the organizational needs. So these could be one easy method to kickstart. So go on these three levels: organizational level, operational level, and the individual level. So from that, you develop a questionnaire and go on with your training need analysis.
Okay, ma'am. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Dr. Deepthi.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm really sorry. I joined a little late, maybe after all the discussion. I just heard your part. So I might have missed something, and it could be a repetitive. So apologies in advance. Ma'am, I came across something which I had to prepare for the first time. I mean, okay, so I'll be very clear. Ma'am, I got some topic that is on psychological safety, and I had to prepare a proposal ID with the key content and with highlighting the key content and all. But I was very confused what all should I include, because earlier whatever I've done in this regards, it was from the training agency point of view, because I was having my own business. And now I'm a full-time learning and development manager in a company. So in the internal stakeholders point of view, what all should be included was very confused. I mean, they already did TNI, everything. So how to actually go ahead, I needed a little. So maybe we can take this off track also on phone call. I'm okay with it if it's beforehand. But I just wanted
So
you.
quickly, what is the objective, training objective statement?
Ma'am, they've given everything. So the training objectives, give me a minute. I asked them the learning outcome, business objective, and training objective, all three of them. And that was my questions to them. They've answered that. Ma'am, business objective is to foster innovation. Topic was designing a program on psychological safety. Target group is mid and leadership level employees. And designing learning outcomes, desired learning outcomes was participants should gain insights into key aspects of psychological safety to facilitate behavioral change among leadership. So I did the research, I got through the Timothy Clark model and 8 trust behavior model. I did all that research. I have entire content. I prepared a deck also of around 8 to 10 slides, understanding the needs and all. But I'm a little this thing ki, it shouldn't look like a marketing point of view as an agency is pitching to a corporate. It should look like an internal stakeholder coming, an L&D expert is coming to a stakeholder and asking for it.
Psychological safety is a huge, it's a ocean basically.
Exactly. So they said you pick up any aspect. So I picked up a Timothy module. Giving a gist.
You do the TNI first. Understand the target audience, leadership. Again, that is also very holistic. Senior leaders, like what are they? Who are they? Which departments?
They are all head of departments of all the departments. And in our company, the leaders are from all these. So all heads, sales head, marketing head, or CSMO. You talk about media and public relation head. You talk about contact center head, CRM head. They all are there in the licensing and also all heads are.
What I would suggest is go on a questionnaire and a pre-questionnaire kind of thing. Understand, what is that they really need. Bring
Where
some
do they stand?
30 questions to the survey that you can do for them. Understand what their needs are. What is this is a very holistic statement that they can really give. So understand the subsets of what they really want, and then go for it because at this point with these 3 points you cannot develop not advisable also. You're dealing with psychological.
They just want the training proposal.
Yeah, so go on, dig it, dive, so that you understand more of it. That would be my suggestion.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. So see you soon. Good afternoon. It's 2:15 now.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am. Back.
Good afternoon. Hope all of you had your lunch.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. So we'll wait for.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll wait for a couple of more minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Now, who's this?
A new joining.
Right,
Hey, Shantanu Lahiri, RTM East.
All right. So back to our class. So with the case discussion that we had some time back. So, quickly, if I'll have to brief, give a conclusion. Yes. We had spoken about training need identification, the analysis part. So, the steps that Mr. Smith can follow is one, define the objectives. To give a quick template kind of a thing in terms of identifying the desired and the current performance level of the employees in terms of KSA, as I spoke, to identify the gaps, to prioritize the training needs, and to recommend any kind of training interventions. So we'll have to define the training objectives, collect data from various sources so that we assess the current performance level of the employees and the desired level of the employees. Interview within survey, do surveys, do questionnaires, do observations, review the documents, whatever sales report or quality records or customer complaints or performance appraisals, whatever that we have, then analyze the data. Analyze the data using various different methods. One person mentioned already SWOT analysis, very importantly to identify the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the company, ABC Inc. And identify, when doing the gap analysis in terms of identifying the differences between the current performance level of the employees and the desired performance level of the employees, identifying the root cause analysis to identify the underlying issues, the reasons for these performance gaps, and doing the cost benefit analysis also should be in terms of estimating the ROI of the training interventions that you give for the that Mr. Smith of that company can give to the organization. Then reporting the findings with a description of the objectives, the methods, the data sources in terms of collection, analysis, presenting the results, through different ways, charts, graphs, tables, prioritizing the training needs based on the impact it has on the main organizational goals, business goals, and recommending any kind of training interventions to address the training needs, whether through online courses or workshops or coaching or mentoring, anything of that sort. Then implementing the training. Implementing the training, again, many things comes into picture. Allocating a budget, the resources for the training, selecting some appropriate trainers, vendors for the training delivery, scheduling the sessions according to the without affecting the productivity of the employees availability, their work schedules, yeah, communicating the objectives, the expectations and the benefits of the training programs to the employees, then evaluating the effectiveness of training interventions through pre-test, post-test, feedback forms, observations. All of it would be a what do you call a complete, a holistic perspective in terms of your training need identification. Now I am slowly moving on to the next topic, topic of your syllabus. So can you see the PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So steps of your instructional system development. So if you can see this, yes, we have discussed about the training need assessment, followed by your instructional system design instructional system design, the learning experience. I'm talking about the design, the development, the feedback, evaluation, evaluation of the learning outcomes I'm talking. I'm not talking about the main evaluation. Then the program implementation followed by the main evaluation. We all know this is the major, the phases where we cross as part of this is the cycle, the ID cycle basically. So now, having finished this needs assessment part, so what would be the output of your training needs assessment? Your training design. Collating all that you have said, we have discussed, from the training area to the job functions, to the competency profile, to the competency gap, to usage of technologies, processes, new techniques, the learners analysis, the KSA, all of this. Having done all of this, your output is your training design. Okay, now I am moving on to the training design part. Okay, when we talk about the training design, your syllabus talks about the tailored model of curriculum development, training curriculum. Okay. So let me quickly ask this question. When we talk about training curriculum, what is that coming into your mind? What is training curriculum to you? Quickly, one or two answers. Training curriculum?
The module or the topics information along with the time duration, how we are going to conduct the entire program associated with any assessments, and then what will be the learning skill sets that the learner is going to acquire from that.
All right.
The storyboard, which contains the topics covered under that module, session wise, with the objectives that would be achieved by covering that topics, timeline, pedagogy, what all activities, role plays, or whatever you're using as a tool, and also counting on the timelines. How much time will you take? So if your curriculum storyboard is in line and it's been achieved by the stakeholder, it doesn't take much time on creating the deck because you have everything in line. You've thought of it.
All right, all right. So what is mentioned in your syllabus is about the Taylor model of curriculum development. So this Taylor model, because it is developed by Ralph Taylor. So here, this is the Taylor model. Again, this is age-old model. Somewhere early in the 1940s, it was developed. Kind of a prototype that was developed as part of your curriculum development in a different scientific approach. So Taylor model is one of the first models, and it has 4 steps as you see in the image. Determining the purposes or the objectives, however you call it. Then identifying the learning experience that is related to the purpose of related to the objectives of the of whatever you devise. Then organizing the experiences, then evaluating the objectives again, evaluating the purpose. So using these 4 fundamental phases, yeah, as a logical sequence for planning, this is one significant model, a linear model. And let us see what elaborately what each of these phases like. Objectives, when we say identifying the objectives, the process of developing the learning objectives, will always consider the learners, okay, the life experiences of the learners, the developmental factors of the learners, the interests of the learners, the values and aims of what the society is bringing into them. So this objectives, yeah, these are important to be consistent with the philosophy of what we are developing. So how learning is related to the issues of the environment, and some believed studies of contemporary life that is going to provide some information for these learning objectives. That is what Tyler says. So learning, if I can give with the example, learning objectives in terms of communication skills, knowledge, quantitative skills, analytical skills. So these are the ways, the objectives, that is what he means. Then in the second phase, selecting or identifying the learning activities for meeting those defined objectives, it's a method. A method that aligns both the content development and the skill component, yeah, of the audience, of the training program. And he also lays down a set of general principles that should guide the development of these of whatever you are devising as part of your learning experience. You're developing a learning experience to the audience, right? So instructional designers can control the learning experience through the environment, bringing some stimulating situations, so that it brings the learning outcomes, whatever outcome we propose to bring in. So those kind of learning outcomes from the learners we can bring in. So what kind of learning experience? I think we already have discussed about points like how can we bring this learning experience to people, so that we work on a backward integration way. In the first set of models itself, we were talking about backward integration, so that in terms of getting these learning outcomes, what kind of learning experience can you bring in, so that you align with the objectives of the training program. So this is one way, the second step in terms of developing this curriculum. Then is organizing these learning experiences. When I talk about organizing the learning experiences, what is important is continuity. Yeah. Then, sequencing of each of the modules, and then integrating all of this. Integration matters the most. So your participants need concrete experiences wherein whatever they go through is meaningfully connected. That is the efficiency of your curriculum. And the entire process of organizing this learning experience will kind of support each other while you build on every single experience so that it's a long-term impact. All that we are focusing on is a vision, right? So in order to develop a long-term impact, that integration matters most. And finally, you evaluate and assess the learning evaluation so that it directly aligns with the objectives, the first step. So evaluating the effectiveness brings in lot of tools, appraisal tools that are very relevant to the purpose of whatever instructions you're bringing in. So evaluation can be before, during, after. We all know that, okay? Before the instruction, during the instruction, or end of the instruction. So looking at the the long-term effects of learning your audience will have, so that the learning will have a lasting impact to your participants. So curriculum evaluation is the process of matching the initial expectations in the form of objectives, behavioral objectives, with outcomes achieved by the learner. So all the evaluations must be guided by a purpose, guided by a uniqueness, some sensitivity to the uniqueness of what is being assessed. So this impression that the curriculum process starts for you when you start defining the objectives of the learning experience, end with the evaluation, assessment. So it will have, starting from identification of objectives, which will serve as a guide for the entire components of your curriculum. So that's what this Taylor model says. So when curriculum development is about, it's starting from defining the goals, defining the objectives of the curriculum. So based on the needs and interests of the participants and the goal of the entire program, the selection will happen. The selection and identification of the learning experience will happen, so that you meet those defined objectives, and then followed by your learning experience, then followed by your effectiveness, so that once you gather all of these feedback from the stakeholders, you bring in a proper curriculum to your employees, to your participants, basically. So this is what Taylor model of curriculum development says. Now, quickly, I am moving on to this outcome-based education, which is also given in your syllabus, OBE. Outcome-based education actually focuses on results rather than the learning process, to be very, very clear about it. Participants are given clear objectives. Regular evaluations of progress will happen. They receive personalized feedback on how well they have achieved their goals. So the key here is, as far as OBE is concerned, is clarity for both the participants as well as the instructional designers, to understand what is expected of them. So this will create a clear expectation of results that the participants must achieve. Yeah. So what is this outcome? Outcome is all about skill, knowledge, and attitude. So again, in addition to understanding what is expected, OBE is also going to talk about transparency. Apart from the clarity, transparency. So the basic principle of this OBE is that participants must meet a specific standard to kind of transform from one phase to another. So no curve grading. Teachers, tutors, or instructional designers, however you call, whether you're developing something on the educational program, we are free to experiment with any kind of methodology we feel is the best. Okay, now how does this start? It starts with the organization's vision and mission. Deciding a short-term goal, a long-term goal in terms of the learning outcome that we want to bring in for the audience, their personal growth, their skill development, organization's performance, overall performance. So this vision and mission is set so that as someone said, it starts with the organizational objectives and then it ends up with the individual's objectives. So how can we do that? Brainstorm some sessions with experts, experienced, who have this expertise of various departments or, various business goals and all that. Speaking to different industry professionals in understanding what is the market, market's current standard is, analyzing the opinions, analyzing the plan of action and arriving at a plan of action. So this vision and mission should be clear in terms of organizations focus on this teaching learning process that will bring some world-class learning experience to the audience. Then you focus on establishing some program educational objectives, or in simple terms, program outcomes. You know this already. So program educational objectives, they call it as PEOs here. What is that? These are the expected outcomes of the learners once they finish the course. Mostly the way they conduct their behavior, they enhance their skill, or any ethics that they bring in as part of their attitude, anything of that, which will become a step-by-step approach in terms of establishing these PEOs. So we need to consider the vision and mission statements. Then we have to share it across the different functions of an organization. Then implement whatever is discussed, after being approved, and then have some program assessment committee so that we move forward in terms of ideating and developing a kind of a PEO, and then we bring in some analysis in terms of the participants' learning outcomes, so that they periodically identify, as instructional designers, we identify the learning gaps and rectify them also. So all of these would be included in the second step as part of program educational objectives. And then establish the program outcomes. Program outcomes, the objectives achieved at the end of any course. So these are mapped with the learner who is pursuing the course, and determining what he is going to achieve. Again, this will be a proper step-by-step process, then followed by bringing on this course outcomes. So what is this course outcomes? Course outcomes are the objectives that are achieved at the end of the course. Again, it may be a little confusing between among these PEOs, POs, and COs. But let us think from an institution point of view, because this is all about education and all that. So let us see in perspective to a graduate who is completing an educational course. So what all are we expecting as part of program outcomes from a graduate is that, one, knowledge. Number two, problem analysis, the capability of problem analysis, developing, designing, of his own system, solving complex problems. What are the society's responsibilities? What is the environment all about? What is the ethics of the individual that is being built? How is he or she bringing on this teamwork and individual contribution to himself or herself, communication, management of any particular project, end of it, how he or she is a lifelong learner. So these are the program outcomes that we expect from any graduate who completes education, because I am talking about outcome-based education. So educating based on what outcome are we focusing on. So from the inputs of, from the stakeholders, we list out, we develop, we design the outcomes, on a step-by-step, what you call step-by-step, phases from the vision statement to the PEOs to the POs to the CEOs. Here and there, the arrow mark refers. Here and there, you can always go revisit and change anything that you want, because it's a continuous improvement process. The output of which will be, before the output, let me talk about the course outcomes also. What is the course outcome that we are trying to bring in? Is about the individual, the student is supposed to remember, is supposed to understand things, is supposed to apply, analyze, evaluate, create something new. All of these are important. So these are the outcomes that we are expecting as part of a student. So based on that, the output is brought in. Sometimes the COPO mapping also happens. The course outcomes and the program outcomes. So when you map, it is easy for the instructional designer to bring in what exactly this outcome-based education wants as part of this new model, rather than what this traditional education system is bringing. So now we bring in the syllabus, teaching methods, learning activities, the assessment tools as part of the output, the entire output of this OBE method. So this is one way of, what we're talking about as curriculum and all that. This is also another way. So this is OBE for you. So now let me ask this question, having spoken about OBE and curriculum development and all that. What is learning objectives to you? What are learning objectives? If I can ask you one question, what is a learning objective? What would you answer?
The purpose for which the learning design has been aligned.
Okay.
I mean, the training has been aligned.
Okay. Anything else?
It defines at the end of the session what the learner would be knowing. It could be probably a skill or a knowledge.
Okay.
The transformation which is desired.
All right.
Career advancement of the employees.
Okay.
As well as it can be a part of the employee engagement.
All right.
Outcome of the training program.
Outcome of the training program. Okay.
Yeah, ma'am, may I?
Yes, please.
Okay, the change we are looking in the person or in the employee in the way of behavior and attitude, that is also can become in a learning objective.
Okay. So now what I will do is, I will give you one quick activity. Let us make this as an activity. Maybe let us not break out to rooms and all that. I will showcase this case for you. Probably you can put it in the chat box so that all of us can go visit those answers. Okay, can we do that? Is that okay?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so what you're going to do is write learning objectives for the case that I am giving. So no copying again, or if you think breakout room will be good, I will do that also, no problem for me. Did not want to replicate that. So, I thought a different method will do.
Chat box would be fine, ma'am.
Chat box would be fine, right? Okay, okay. All right. So now, this is the activity and you're going to write learning objectives for this. So this is the case for you. Anyone would like to read it loud?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Please.
A local phone service company is having trouble acquiring new customers. They have many people signing up for the free trial period, but only 30% of those people become paying customers. The company analyzed the problem and discovered that the sales team was recommending services plans that didn't match the customer's needs. Even though the company had service plans for a wide variety of customer needs, the sales team ignored most of the options. Some team members pushed all the clients to either the most expensive service plans or the cheapest. The problem is clear. For this example, we will use an instructional design to address it.
So, right, I'm not going to, I'm not asking you to build the entire design in this activity. Maybe you can write the learning objectives for this case over to the chat box.
Ma'am, can't read the last points. There is some.
Sorry?
Could you the entire image not visible for me actually. There is a okay, it's okay.
Is my chat box overlapping?
No, madam.
It's okay, ma'am, now.
Anika, if you may mention a specific customer needs, okay? But any specific needs that you would like to mention? This is
Okay.
for Anika.
Okay.
A proper learning objective is what I'm expecting.
So basically something is that is measurable quantitatively.
You got the hint.
Yeah.
Good one, Rupali. Good one, Mr. Abhishek. Convincing is coming more often, okay? That's good. What kind of training? What is the problem here? What is the learning objective here? Bhakti Kulkarni, if you can mention a little elaboratively, it will be good. Right product to identify customer needs very well. I'm asking about the learning objective, the objective statement, basically. Ah, shared DOS program objective. I mean, I think all of these points. I think this is good.
Thank you, Dr.
Right product to the right customer. That's the key here, right? Walking to right customer. Okay. Oh, so many answers popping up. Lovely. Good to see. I mean, rather than discussions and charts, make it one learning objective and one answer from each of you should be fine. Let us not make it a discussion. Then we'll not be able to have time. Fair enough, fair enough. Product prospect matching. Caption is good, Mr. Yogesh. By the end of the session, yes. This is how a learning objective should come in. Fair enough. Reskilling training plan. Oh my God. Okay, so let the answers keep rolling. I'm happy to see different perspectives again. See, there are two important factors to think about in this example, okay? First, objectives will have to be measurable, as Anika was also mentioning. You can see whether someone is performing some action correctly or not. And then, is it meaningful? So they help people perform their jobs better. So that is the first important thing. It has to be measurable. And number two, it has to be meaningful so that people connect with their jobs and do their jobs better. Yeah, performance, directly linking it to performance. So these are the two important things. This will set a good learning objective statement than bringing about so many words into it. So measurable learning objectives is about understanding if the learning has taken place. So that is what we want to know through this. So you will have to avoid terms like, so now you go revisit the chat box and see what all can we avoid. We have to avoid vague words, vague terms like understand, learn, know, because there is no metric whether the learning has occurred or not. So how can this can be revised? I'm giving an example only, I'm not giving direct answers for this. Perspectives are right, but at the same time, how can we even more furnish it in terms of a learning objective statement? So by the end of this lesson, I'm giving you examples here, please note it. By the end of this lesson, students will understand why World War II started. Okay, if this is the statement, this is not a measurable objective. What does understanding here look like? So if I can reframe it, students will be able to explain the 3 main causes of World War II. So if I reframe it like this, it is easy to observe whether a person completed this objective or not. So now in the workplace, a poor learning objective can be employees will know what to do. Employees will know what to do in case of fire. So what is this knowing all about? Knowing is vague, right? So let us reframe it. Employees will be able to locate the fire escape on each floor. Is this fair enough? Yes, no?
Yes.
They will be able to handle the handle emergencies because of any fire incident.
Yeah. So the observable action here is locating. Yeah, locating is the most specific thing here. How to write measurable objectives matters a lot. All effective learning objectives will allow you to clearly demonstrate that learning has taken place. Okay? So a thumb rule is that you ask yourself whether you could film a person demonstrating that objective. So if you are able to do that, then it is measurable. Okay. So the next step is to make sure that the learning objective will actually help the audience or the stakeholders, which is about bringing in meaningful learning objectives. So your solid learning objectives will help your participants do something in this real world. That is what we intend to, right? So learning objectives should be, it should provide value, either directly or by allowing the audience to practice something, yeah, that they will do in their real life. Give them the knowledge that enables them to do something at their current level or at a higher level. So direct learning objectives is the key here. So when I talk about direct learning objectives, that will provide some practice for what the person has to do on the job. I'll give you one example. By the end of this training, employees will be able to locate documents in the company's database. Okay. So if the employees need to be able to navigate the database, then this training will provide a critical skill. So this is one key thing. Then some enabling learning objectives. This is another important way. What is enabling learning objective? It doesn't directly teach people or train people about a task in their particular job, but it gives them the secondary information that will help them work. Okay. I'll give you an example for this also. The main learning objective in a customer service training program. Okay. Customer service training program can be, by the end of this training, these employees will be able to calm down and assist the angry customers. Yeah, we also do this. We are all angry customers. You pick up a call when you're in the highest pressure mode. You will just like that talk something rubbish and keep up the call. Yeah, so pathetically, the recipient who is taking up the call, though they undergo a lot of such training programs, I think those training programs are really mandatory, because it is directly about motivating them in terms of keeping up their spirits high. So enabling objective will help them. Enabling objectives can be employees, for the same example I'm talking about, okay? These angry customers, employees are trying to calm down and assist the angry customer. So how can this enabling objective be? Employees will memorize the don'ts list for customer interaction. Yeah. So don't accuse the customer of wrongdoing. Don't leave the customer on hold for more than 2 minutes without checking in. So these kind of statements will help the participants during the training program to keep up their spirit again. Just telling employees what behaviors to avoid is not enough actually. They still need to be trained on how to work with angry customers. So knowing what not to do will help them avoid some costly mistakes. Okay, I'll give you another example of this enabling objective. Okay, training the staff who serves at a restaurant. Okay, so what could be the learning objective? Anyone can unmute and say?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, how to be patient, hospital, because there are varied demands, there are varied questions which a client asks.
No, one statement. By the end of this training, I want that way.
Hospital, how to be more hospital without getting angry on the client, being more patient with the customer.
That's it.
Ma'am, may I come in here?
Yes, please.
Ma'am, you remember a very famous advertisement by Tata Tea, where there is this airport customer service agent who's talking to a client, and she is addressing him as in the public address system. Can anybody help him find something? That's a wonderful way of training needs. I mean, they are generally trained that way to handle angry, irate customers.
Got you. So,
ma'am, even empathizing.
Okay, I am looking at the main part. Accurately taking the customer's orders.
Sorry, ma'am?
Accurately taking the orders.
Accurately taking the orders, yes.
2 dosas, 2 vada puffs, one one idli, 5 pav bhaji.
And
yes,
then
please.
repeating it at the end when the order has been taken, it tends to repeat and confirm whether it is correct and as per their expectation.
Yes. Mr. Arshad, you are about to say something.
Yes. The guy who is attending the training will be able to, after complete the training, it will simply remember what the customer ordered and how will the treat will be given. That one the objective maybe.
Okay. So now I'm talking about enabling objectives. Okay. So first I was talking about direct objectives. Now I'm talking about the secondary information that you can give. So just to quickly make you understand, the second option is about this. Yes, Mr. Larry.
Ma'am, there is one technique followed by Subway. What Subway does is Subway will give you the base thing on their menu.
Correct.
And then they'll generally ask you, do I give you this top up? Do I give you that top up? They'll not say what price it is, but in the end, you will find that you have you are like from the base price, there is an additional expense of about 30%, 40%, which corresponds to the company's objective of bringing in the maximum revenue.
Right.
That is another way they are trained, ma'am. The counter staff in Subway.
Lovely.
That I believe is another way of training it, and something corresponds to this case study.
Perfect.
No, I think it is the enabling objective would be how to speak to customer politely. I mean, that is not directly about the taking order, but it is something which also enables the person. So how to greet the customer, how to take the order, how to be polite with the customer. If the customer is angry, how to
There are
handle
many
him.
qualities, many important things. So that what I have picked here is how to accurately take customers' orders in just
Yes, that is the main learning objective.
So 2 minutes. Okay. So how can an enabling objective be formulated for this? Anyone? Quickly. Enabling objective.
Quantity.
quantity, anything else? Just remember what I said.
How to take note of the learner will be able to take note of the order given by the customer.
I will repeat the statement. See, your
Accuracy.
enabling learning objective is not going to directly teach people about a task or a job. It is going to give secondary information that will help them at work.
How much time he is going to receive?
Being attentive.
Okay. I mean, before that,
To
someone
enable them to remember the orders.
to remember the order, somewhere like that.
Teaching about
how to
customer
greet guests
psychology.
warmly, how to basically greet the guests.
Greet the guests. Okay,
Ready.
fine.
Ma'am, ready
teaching
with notepad and pen or iPad, something like that. Notepad to note down the order.
Ma'am, they're given the menu, the client has the menu, and the waiter, he just stands and wait for the order which is to be given. He answers only when there's a question asked for the specification of certain dish on the menu. And he keeps, it's always the client who always gives his specification and then he speaks.
This is
So
what
I
I
think
wanted. This
so
is
that,
what I wanted.
yes, ma'am. So that avoids confusion and the waiter is not putting his opinion on front of the client. So it's easy for even him to write down. There's no confusion in taking down the menu, and the entire responsibility of the order is on the client. So there isn't any confusion while placing the order also.
Perfect. All the other answers are indeed right. No wrong answer that I'm stating, but I'm just trying to pitch in a different perspective. How can an enabling learning objective, bring a picture to this? Okay. So the serving staff will memorize the vegan or the gluten-free options on the menu. Okay. So by the end of this, project, the serving staff will memorize, this. So on its own, the objective will not help employees take the customer's orders. So it will allow them to answer questions quickly, meaning that the order will be completed faster. So that is why we are talking about this. So objective will help the audience do their jobs more effectively if it is meaningful. That is what we are trying to bring in as part of this learning objectives. Yeah, clear?
Ma'am, can you explain it again once again?
Sorry?
Can you explain it once again? I couldn't be able to understand.
No. What I mentioned here is it has to be a meaningful way. See, many people in the same example, many of you mentioned greetings, how people greet them, how people salute the there are so many different perspectives, right? Yes, Mr. Ajay? So greeting the customers or how they treat the customer. So many points. So what I have taken is the direct objective, that the direct quality of any server who is going to take the customer orders accurately within 2 minutes. This is the metric, okay? Measurable metric. In 2 minutes, he will have to take the customer order. So this is the direct learning objective. So I am trying to also give you another perspective on how can this enabling objective be. So the serving staff will memorize the vegan, the gluten-free options on the menu, specifications, as Nidhi said. So the objectives will help the employees to take the customer's orders. So I am bringing in this meaningful way of devising this learning objective also. One, it has to be measurable. Number two, it has to be meaningful. So these are the two ways that you can bring in as when you devise a learning objective. On this note, now let us quickly, yes, Jeevan.
In such situation, it is like, how can he be more informative? In that situation, he can remember all these items and he can narrate whatever it is required. When it is coming about accuracy, then he must have a place, something to note down what the client is ordering at that moment. So that could be the direct objective.
That is the direct objective. I am giving you an additional perspective. What could be the
Gotcha.
enabling objective also? Both of these I'm giving you.
Okay, done. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So now with this in mind, can we quickly pick top 3 learning objectives from the chat box? Yeah. So let the voting start. To make this session even more livelier and all that. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am, how to vote?
Type the name of the person for, who is already
And
mentioned.
then counting will become very difficult.
That's okay. That's okay. We're not going so deep. I cannot open the poll now. So we'll just
objective.
Again, this is only a motivating and a lively interactive way of.
Ma'am, this is
The
like you.
objective is this. The
Ma'am,
objective
you
is
select
not to
top
give
10
marks.
and we'll select top 3.
The objective is not going to give marks or rate them, rank them. Don't worry, I am not getting into that. No offense, okay? Just to trigger this audience in terms of revisiting the outcomes and see which, the top 3 objectives that serves these 2 purposes. One being measurable and number 2 being meaningful. These are the 2 things that we'll have to remember.
Okay.
Quickly.
Sukriti, Arya, understanding customer needs.
Oh, just names alone, please, so that the person will feel motivated.
Sukriti, Arya.
Okay, quickly.
Arul Seth.
Okay. Hope people don't mention their own names.
Jugal
That
Kishore.
is an additional lesson.
Okay, quickly,
Ma'am,
please.
Jugal Kishore.
Okay. The men, I've not got
I
answers.
would
for the
also
men.
say Parul, ma'am, because even she has Parul Seth.
Okay, done. Parul, okay. From the men of the team?
I want to name myself. Ma'am, those C3 points I've written in one format. In one line.
Nothing wrong. Go on.
Reading those points that same my
Super. This is just to again trigger the competitiveness. Nothing else. The objective is very simple. Okay?
Ma'am, the one who I've written in the beginning, they're not even referring that.
Right.
Ma'am, Abhishek Kashyap.
Abhishek. 1 point for Mr. Abhishek. The men did not open their mouth, so just putting them.
Ma'am, I think.
Yes. I saw.
Ma'am, voting, there could be one very nice way. I just saw there is a reaction that you can give on the same. You can give a thumbs up. And whoever gets the highest thumbs up is the winner, rather than counting name.
Okay.
Ma'am, there are a lot of answers here.
Let it happen. Now we will quickly move on to the next topic. Yeah. Thank you for all this participation and all of this. Because we are on online training, these are very important for all of us. That too, when we have back-to-back 2 sessions to keep up all our spirits high. Yeah. Okay. Now, thank you, all of you. We will go on to this methods versus media. Okay. We've been talking about this a little some time back. Let us all again bring in this methods, media. What are methods? What is all about media? Choosing the most appropriate instructional methods, instructional media for your learning context is the key skill for any instructor, any trainer, any educator, whoever you are. Okay, this will make a difference in how well your learners achieve the intended objective the learning outcomes, whatever learning outcome that you want to bring in, how engaged and how motivated they are, how satisfied they are with the learning experience that you're providing. Agree? Yes or no?
Yep.
But how do you make this decision? Is my question. Yeah. Selecting the best instruction methods, best media for your learning. So now it's important for us to define again the learning object. The first step as to what you all saw is to define your learning objectives clearly, specifically. Okay, these are statements that will describe what your learners should be able to know, should feel after completing the instruction. So they should be, these objectives should be aligned with the needs and goals of your learners, the content, the context of the instruction, and the standards and the criteria of the organization. So learning objectives will provide the basis for choosing the most suitable instructional methods and media, and indicate the level, the type of learning that they want to achieve. So here, when we have done this learning objective, the second step is about considering the learner's characteristics. Learner's characteristics, their prior knowledge, their skills, their preferences, their attitudes, their motivations, their learning styles. So these factors will influence how the learners respond to different instructional methods, different media, how effectively they learn from them, right? Say, for example, some learners will prefer more interactive and collaborative methods, discussions, simulations, games. Maybe some other prefer individual self-paced methods, readings, videos, quizzes, self-quizzes. So learners will benefit from more visual and auditory images also. Sometimes images or diagrams or podcasts, some text, sometimes on the textual kinesthetic media, where you provide some worksheets and all of them, all of these to them. So the second important thing, as I said, is to bring about these learners' characteristics. Then thirdly, to evaluate the instructional methods and media. So this evaluation will be based on their advantages, the disadvantages, the suitability for the learning objectives. Basically, that's why I spoke about learning objectives and the learner's characteristics first before talking about this methods and media. So learners' characteristics, their availability and feasibility in the learning context. So instructional methods are the approaches, are the ways that we use to deliver the instructions, whatever you deliver, lectures, or demonstrations, or case studies, problem-based learning, whatever. Videos, webinars, slides, simple slides or books. So there are many instructional methods and media that you can choose from, but not all of them are equally effective or appropriate for every learning situation, for every learning experience. So you need to measure the advantages and disadvantages of each option, compare them with your objectives, with your learner's characteristics, and the resources, the constraints of your learning context also. Then you select and combine the instructional methods. So the step, though I have mentioned methods and media here, I'm giving you a step-by-step perspective. So then the next step is to select your appropriate instructional methods based on your evaluation, not on choice, not on preference, not on easy convenience and all that, okay? Based on evaluation, based on judgment. You may choose one or more instructional methods and media that will best match your learning objectives, that will best match your learner's characteristics, and that are feasible and available in the learning context, not on the trainer's context, instructional designer's context. Okay, you get my point? Yes? No?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So
Yes,
we can also combine different methods and media to create a more diverse and engaging learning experience to address the different learning needs and preferences. Okay. Say, for example, you may use a lecture to introduce a topic, followed by a video to illustrate an example, then a group discussion to facilitate a deeper understanding, and finally a quiz to assess the learning outcomes. Can this be done? Yeah? Yes, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
This is
Yes.
what I'm talking
Yes,
about.
ma'am.
So then the next step is to implement and monitor your instruction methods and media. We will have to monitor this, meaning like you need to plan and prepare your instructions carefully, taking into account the logistics, technicalities, what else? The pedagogies of using your chosen instructional methods and media. You also need to deliver your instruction effectively using all of these communication, facilitation, feedback skills, whatever. You need to monitor your instruction continuously. Formative evaluation, summative evaluation. We will talk about that in the next class. Observation, feedback, surveys, tests, all of it will keep you, will help you check whether your instructional methods and media are achieving the intended learning outcomes and whether they are meeting the expectations, the needs of the learners. Then you review, revise. You always have the space, the provision to review and revise the instructional methods whenever needed. So it is important also based on the results, based on the implementation, based on the monitoring system that you have. So you need to analyze and reflect on the strengths and weaknesses of your own instructional methods, of your own instructional media. Identify the areas of improvement, wherein we can bring changes in your instructional design. You need to collect and use the feedback and the data from your learners also, from your peer group, from the supervisors, from the stakeholders, however your profile is into, and just generically mentioning, and incorporate these suggestions and recommendations. Then you need to adapt and keep updating the instructional methods and media regularly, taking into account the changes, the developments in your context, objectives, learners, whoever they are. So these are the keys, how, these are the steps as to how you select the methods and media. You know what are methods and what are media, right? I have already mentioned in the slide there. So it is not that just that. As an instructional designer, it is also important, mandatory for you to understand, for you to clearly figure out which method and media would help me, for this particular training program. So this is what we are talking about in this slide. Yes. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so with this, we will close maybe blended learning. We will see in the next class. We'll also have some more activities like this in the next class also. And going forward, you'll have, the other training evaluation. We'll also have one session dedicated to bringing out, the importance of all the, complete instructions and all that. So we'll see all of these in the next class. Yes, I have 2 hands being raised. Yes, please.
So Dr. Ravi, I just wanted to understand the slide like which you are showcasing right now. Have you prepared the slide like before the COVID or after the COVID period? Why I'm asking this because
again,
I think after the COVID, like the complete ILT kind of a methodology has been changed into VILT.
I know, video cassettes, DVDs, I completely understand this. See, whatever is the traditional thing that I have portrayed here, this is, see, my presentations and my talks will all be covering all the topic. This is something from the material, something from the book that I have mentioned, just to give you an idea. Again, none of it is like, you have to follow this or whatever I talk is, it is not about you can blindly follow it. It's not that. I'm all giving you just an understanding of it. You use whatever you want. Yeah.
Yep. So are we trying, should we add some more into methods or under media? Because coming to the new kind of a structure like which we are adopting in the VLT,
Absolutely. You
we
can.
can. Sure.
This is only to give you an idea. Yes, one more hand.
Okay, ma'am, actually I have one question. Like there are some methods to give a training. Like whenever I give training to anybody, I always choose the simulation method. I think this is the best method to give the practical knowledge, to give them the what I'm trying to train them on it. So can you tell me like how can we find actually what will be the best method for them? Because this is the method that I like actually. Maybe the other method will be the better than this one. So how can we find out like which method I should use in that way? So that will be the better one to tell or present what I want to tell them.
As I said, understand your learners, characteristics, see which methods would be appropriate as per the instructional need that you are bringing in. Do a pilot after once you implement, you monitor it, see if it is working out. If it is working out, well and good. If it is not working out, you can repeat the plan. Nothing wrong about it.
Okay, in this way means I have to first try, do experiment, then I will got to know which one is working better. We cannot know before that. Yeah, right. Yes,
If you are a fresher or a first timer. Yeah. Yes, one more hand.
Actually, madam, this is Sharath. How do we calculate ROI, madam? Is there any separate class or?
Big question. There are many experts who are actually, giving bringing out a lot of books, bringing out a lot of, perspectives to this. So you have asked in one simple statement, one simple question. We will have, ROI
Here in our
evaluation.
manufacturing, here
We
I am
will be
working in
talking
manufacturing.
about it, Mr. Sharath. We will definitely be covering in in one of the topics, maybe in the evaluation. But again, I can only talk diplomatically because there are many. I can
No,
give
if
you.
it is topic is there means no issue, madam.
I can give you some leads. I recently also saw on the LinkedIn where there was one workshop pertaining to the ROI. It's a huge thing. Workshop or webinar, something like that. I can also give you some links and things about it. End of it, we all know what is ROI and how it is, how complex it is to bring that in terms of implementing it in the organization. I will cover it, but definitely I'll cover it.
Okay, thank you, madam.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, madam.
All right. Fine. Thank you so much for all your lovely participation. So keep.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Keep
Thank you,
learning.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Keep
Thank you.
revisiting your textbooks.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Raghavi.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Agni. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
May we leave?